There is a strange kind of fear that begins before anything happens, the fear of going downstairs. A basement does not need a monster to feel wrong. It only needs a door at the end of a hallway, a light switch that clicks too loudly, a set of narrow steps, and the feeling that the house is asking us to descend into a part of itself we were not meant to visit at night. The fear starts in the body before it becomes a story. We pause at the top of the stairs. We listen. We imagine the dark below listening back. Basements disturb us because they are inside the home, but they do not feel domestic. Bedrooms are for sleep. Kitchens are for food. Living rooms are for faces, voices, warmth, and routine. A basement is different. It is storage, foundation, machinery, pipes, boxes, concrete, old smells, damp air, things pushed out of sight. It belongs to the house, but it feels like the house's hidden organ. That is why the basement often feels more intimate than the attic. An attic sits above us like memory. It holds old things, yes, but it is dry, dusty, distant. A basement sits underneath us like something buried. We walk over it every day. We sleep above it. We eat above it. We pretend the home begins at the floor, even though another layer exists below our feet. The descent matters. Horror understands stairs better than almost any genre. When a character walks down into a basement, the movement itself becomes a ritual. Each step lowers them out of ordinary life. The ceiling rises behind them. The light from upstairs shrinks. The sound changes. By the time they reach the bottom, the house has already transformed. A basement is frightening, partly because it reverses the promise of shelter. A home is supposed to protect us from the outside world. It has walls, locks, windows, familiar rooms, familiar objects. But the basement suggests that danger may already be inside the structure, not outside the door, not in the woods, not in the street, under the kitchen, behind the washer, beneath the floorboards. This is why basement scenes in horror rarely feel neutral. In The Silence of the Lambs, the basement is not just a location. It is a psychological underworld, a hidden system beneath an ordinary house, where control, captivity, and identity become physical space. The deeper Clarice goes, the more the film removes normal orientation. Light fails. Walls close in. The basement becomes a mind built from corridors. In Barbarian, the basement works because it turns real estate into anatomy. The house looks like a normal building from the street, but below it, there are hidden rooms, deeper tunnels, older violence. The horror is not only that something lives beneath the house. The horror is that the house contains more history than its surface admits. The basement becomes proof that a clean exterior can sit on top of buried harm. The Evil Dead makes the cellar feel like a mouth. The trap door shakes. Something below speaks upward. The basement is not passive storage anymore. It becomes an opening between the cabin and a force that wants to enter. That image is so effective because it breaks the hierarchy of the home. The floor is supposed to be stable. The cellar door turns the floor into a threshold. Even when nothing supernatural is present, basements carry social fear. They are where families hide what does not fit the image of the family. Old photographs, broken furniture, unpaid bills, holiday decorations, tools, weapons, bottles, secrets. A basement is often an archive without curation. It contains the leftovers of lives people are still trying to perform above ground. That is why basements are tied to repression. We put things there because we do not want them in daily sight. But storing something is not the same as resolving it. A box in the basement can sit for decades, quietly preserving a version of the past no one wants to open. Horror turns that emotional truth into literal threat. What we bury below the house may not stay buried. The sensory language of basements also helps the fear. They smell different. Damp concrete, dust, metal, old wood, mold, laundry heat, oil, soil behind walls. They sound different. Pipes ticking, furnaces breathing, water heaters groaning, footsteps becoming hollow. They feel different, colder, lower, less finished, less watched. Before we see anything, the basement tells the nervous system that we have entered another climate. Light behaves badly down there. A single bulb creates hard shadows. Corners stay unreadable. Shelves become silhouettes. Hanging cords look like thin bodies. The space is often cluttered. And clutter is important because it gives fear material to work with. Every object can hide a gap. Every stack of boxes can become a shape. Every covered thing can become a body for half a second. Basements also frighten us because they are close to burial. They are rooms under the living rooms, human spaces pressed into the earth. We do not have to believe in ghosts to feel the symbolism. Going underground has always meant going closer to death, memory, roots, rot, and things that continue without sunlight. A basement is civilization's compromise with the grave, underground, but still wired for electricity. This is why children often fear basements with unusual intensity. A child may not understand architecture, repression, or symbolic burial, but they understand the feeling of a dark, lower place. They understand that adults send them down to get something, and suddenly the distance back to safety feels enormous. The stairs are short, but the imagination stretches them. The fear of running back upstairs is one of the purest childhood horrors. Nothing has touched us. Nothing has appeared. But as soon as the light goes off, the body becomes convinced that something behind us has permission to move. We run, not because we saw a monster, but because darkness has changed the rules of pursuit. The basement turns ordinary retreat into escape. In horror, basements often reveal the truth of the house. Upstairs is performance. Downstairs is confession. The polite rooms say, "This is who we are." The basement says, "This is what we kept." That structure is powerful because it matches how people work. We also have upper rooms and lower rooms. We have the self we present and the self we store away. Modern homes have changed, but the basement fear survives in new forms. Server rooms, parking garages, storage units, maintenance corridors, sublevels in offices, data centers under glass buildings. These spaces are not haunted in the old Gothic sense, but they still feel like the infrastructure beneath the image. They remind us that every clean surface depends on a hidden system we rarely understand. The basement is frightening because it makes the home vertical. It tells us that safety has layers, and that lower layers may not obey the emotional rules of the rooms above. It asks a simple question. If this is my house, why does part of it feel like it belongs to something else? Maybe the basement does not scare us because it contains a monster. Maybe it scares us because it contains the possibility of one. It is the room where the mind sends everything unfinished. Old objects, old shame, old sounds, old stories, old versions of the family. And when we stand at the top of the stairs at night, listening into the dark, we are not only afraid of what might be down there, we are afraid that it has been down there the whole time.